Welcome to the highlights from Ukraine, your daily audio summary of the latest news reported in the Ukrainian media. Here is a great way you could support our podcast, and it will cost you only 30 seconds of your time. Please leave us a high rating, preferably 5 stars or the equivalent, in the app where you are listening to this podcast. My name is Artem, and here is the news. For 201 days, Ukraine stands strong against the forces of the Russian invasion. In his evening video address, President Volodymyr Zelensky informed that since September 1st, Ukrainian forces liberated more than 6,000 square kilometers of the territory of Ukraine in the east and south. The movement of troops continues. He thanked those who take part in the counteroffensive and those who serve in the air defense units of the army and protect Ukraine from Russian missile strikes. The US Defense Department believes that Russia has largely surrendered its positions to Ukrainian forces in the northeastern areas of the Kharkiv region, reports European Pravda. According to the Pentagon, Russian troops in the area are withdrawing across the state border. The US assesses that Ukrainian troops very likely took control of Kupiansk and Izium, as well as some smaller villages. Ukraine did not officially announce the complete liberation of Kupiansk and Izium, but Ukrainian flags were raised there. Instead, Russia focused on the section of the front from Siversk to Bakhmut in the Donetsk region, according to the Pentagon. The General Staff of Ukraine informs that Ukrainian forces successfully repelled enemy attacks in the areas of Zaitsevo, Bakhmut, Bakhmutske, Krasnogorivka, Vodyane, Bezimenne and Novogrigorivka in the Donetsk region, reports Union. During the past 24 hours, the Russian forces launched 2 missile strikes, 25 air strikes, and carried out 11 rounds of rocket-propelled grenade attacks on military and civilian objects on the territory of Ukraine. According to the General Staff, up to 200 war crimes committed by the Russian occupiers are registered every day on the liberated Ukrainian territories. Risk of mines remains high in liberated towns and villages, with more than 70,000 square kilometers in 10 regions mined with ammunition and explosives. Intelligence reports that Russian soldiers who were about to be sent to Ukraine refused to go. Known ballet dancer of the National Opera Alexander Chapova was killed in the Donetsk region in a battle with Russian invaders, reports Hromadske Radio. Chapova volunteered to serve in the armed forces after the start of a full-scale invasion. He was a grenade launcher. During the last 5 days, the armed forces of Ukraine destroyed enemy equipment worth $670 million, a significant part of which was destroyed during the counteroffensive in the Kharkiv region, reports Forbes Ukraine. The media used data provided by the General Staff of Ukraine. Enemy losses were 86 tanks and 158 armored fighting vehicles, 106 artillery systems, 159 vehicles, and 46 units of other equipment. The Wall Street Journal informs that Ukraine has requested a list of weapons from the US to continue the offensive in 2023, reports Liga. Among the weapons that Ukraine needs are ATACMS tactical missile systems with a range of 300 kilometers. Earlier, Washington refused to provide this weapon, believing that it can be used to strike deep into Russian territory and due to the risk of provoking Russia. Overall, the list prepared by the government of Ukraine and handed over to American congressmen includes 29 types of weapons, systems, and ammunition. Among them are tanks, drones, artillery systems, Harpoon anti-ship missiles, and 2,000 missiles for the HIMARS missile system. The new request for weapons was prepared against the background of a successful counteroffensive by Ukrainian forces in the Kharkiv and Kherson regions. German Ambassador Anka Feldhusen announced Germany's plans to deliver 2 IRIST air defense systems to Ukraine by the end of this year and 2 more at the beginning of the next year, reports Radio NV. The systems were promised by Berlin back in June, but the date of transfer was not announced. The IRIST is a modern system with a range of 40 kilometers and an altitude of up to 20 kilometers. With its help, it is possible to shoot down combat aircraft, helicopters, cruise missiles, jet artillery, drones, and anti-radar missiles. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz said that despite Ukraine's request, Berlin won't transfer tanks as Germany's allies don't do it, reports Ukrainska Pravda. After Ukraine's successes in the Kharkiv region, some German political parties, including the coalition members, demanded from the government to strengthen support for Ukraine with weapons. In particular, they were suggesting to transfer Leopard 2 tanks and modern armored personnel carriers. Deputy Chairman of the Security Council of Russia, Dmitry Medvedev, said that Russia still demands, quote, the total surrender of Ukraine on its own terms, unquote, reports Suspilne. He said it in response to the recent statement by President Volodymyr Zelensky that negotiations with the Kremlin may be possible only after liberation of the Ukrainian territory and not with those who talk in demands. Our Patreon supporters get access to a cool new series on wartime life in Ukraine. To join the club, follow the link in the description below. We call on you to demand from governments of your countries to impose the toughest sanctions possible on Russia and its citizens to stop their invasion of Ukraine. Thank you.